Okay, I'm going to start with client 3. Number 1, what are the strengths associated with your client in regards to starting a business? Okay, for the strengths, um, client 3 has good resources of the chocolate and the chocolate makers in America. And I like how the third client had international affairs. So they had different approaches in Europe and the want to start things up in America. So that's for my strengths that I have. Um, what are the weaknesses associated with your client in regards to starting a business? Okay, the war that was starting, I feel like was a definite weakness because that serves as a hindrance in itself for further business. And also, um, Client 3 stated that they were basically at 80% of the funds needed to start the business, but that can be a weakness too, falling short financially. So you need at most 20 more percent of the money. Okay, based on the strengths and weaknesses you've identified, what would be the best form of business organization for your client? I feel like a sole proprietorship would be the best. And my explanation, given 3 reasons why this would be the best form of business, okay, I would say it gives this client independence, which is something that I'm kind of seeing that this client wants. The client also stated that they want to make their own decisions. So you'll have that definitely in the sole proprietorship. And also, lastly, you'll have 100% ownership. So those 3 reasons are why I feel like sole proprietorship will be good for that third client. Now, 5th question states, what are 2 warnings or concerns you would tell your client about using the recommended form of business organization? My warnings are that the client may struggle a little more without a partner to help get the chocolate, because he or she already stated that they may need a partner to get the important ingredient. But then the client later stated that I also prefer making decisions on my own. So 2 heads may bump and conflictions may come. And then also another warning or concern that I have is that all debts with liabilities fall on you. So the unlimited liability, all of that is on you. And there is also the chance that once you die, your business is gone. And just many more things just fall on you, and it's on your shoulders. And then lastly, the last question is, what are some ways your client might be able to offset those concerns, or how could he or she avoid those problems? I would say consider a partnership or a way for the business to go on and find more assistance. To be honest, a partnership would be less stressful in my opinion, and the person would just have to be willing to work together with that other person. And hey, the business may profit from that. So that's all I have for client number 3. Okay, I'm on client number 2. Question number 1 states, what are the strengths associated with your client in regards to starting a business? Okay, my first strength for client number 2 is this client has new technology in mind for creating chocolate. I thought that this was very innovative, and this can prove to be not only unique but beneficial for the business. Another strength was the client's desire to build a business along with a community, and this should give room for further employment within that new community. Okay, number 2 states, what are the weaknesses associated with your client in regards to starting a business? Okay, one weakness I'd say was that the client knew very little about the production of the product and the business. I thought that when he or she said that I don't really know how to produce the chocolate, that was like a major turnoff right there. So that's something definitely that needs to be straightened out. And then another weakness I'd say is that the paragraph I feel like was more based off of a dreaming standpoint, or like a strong aspiration standpoint, and I wasn't really getting much of a game plan. So I feel like those are the corrections that should be made. Okay, number 3 is, based on the strengths and weaknesses you've identified, what would be the best form of business or organization for your client? I think personally that a corporation would be the best, and here's why. Explain 3 reasons why this would be the best form of business or organization for your client. Okay, for my first point, I'd say because simply the client wants other people to handle his or her business. I mean, this client, the paragraph said that the client wanted others to handle the production, sales, marketing, and distribution. Okay, my second point is there's a desire to start off big with a high potential for growth. This is something that's very high in corporations. They want high growth, and they look at that from a statistical perspective. They want to start off strong and be strong, really, as a business. And then third, the teamwork will help client to with whatever they need to just take off. So I'm just getting the energy, the impression that this client really just wants to take off, and I feel like a corporation will almost guarantee that. Okay, next question is, what are 2 warnings or concerns you would tell your client about using the recommended form of business organization? Okay, I would say that the first concern is that it's very expensive. Corporations are very, very, very expensive. It takes a lot of time and money for sure, which is why you need a team, and you need a lot of money for funding for sure. And number 2, taxation. I'd also like to point out that a lot of more government activity will be involved with having a corporation, as well as taxation. So a lot of money will be pulled out of somebody's pockets, unfortunately. Okay, and lastly, what are some ways your client might be able to offset some of those concerns? In other words, what could he or she do to avoid these problems that I mentioned? Okay, for my first suggestion, I would say start fundraisers. Start the fundraisers in various communities that you intend to create. Because if you intend to create a community, you got to go out to the people first, and maybe even try doing something for them and giving back to them so that they can give back to you, and take that money and invest it, save it, which is my next point. Create a savings account that you and others that may be involved in the corporation could consistently add into, like every week or every 2 weeks, a percentage of your paycheck. Just drop it in there. Let's just say like 20%. Every person just drops something in there, and then you just save and accumulate more money. So that's all for client 2.